Well, everyone, thank you so much again for joining me here on another edition of Let's Talk. And as you can see, we're going to have an exciting day today. My guest today is a former NFL player who turned LGBTQ activist, who also was a contestant on The Voice on Blake Shelton's team, and then turned executive chef for The Voice. On top of all that, he is the founder and the CEO of Hate is Wrong. My guest today is none other than Esera Tuaolo. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, aloha. Thank you for having me, man. This is, I'm super excited. I've never been excited about a live thing, but I am today. So
Thank you so much for joining me. Well, also, he's known as Mr. Aloha.
yes, it's these hands, man. It's, I have those like nice, beautiful, beautiful hula hands. Yeah. So.
Well, we have a lot to talk about. You have such an amazing historical history and all the things that you represent. So I'm going to jump right into it. First of all, let everybody know where you're at right now.
I am on the island of Minnesota. Yeah, the beautiful island of Minnesota, where it gets below 20, don't you know? But I have been here for 29 years. I've been in Minnesota, and I love it. Ever since I came and played with the Minnesota Vikings, I love the place, and I just made it my home. It's a great place to raise my kids, and it was so that's where I'm at. I am in the state of Minnesota. Yeah.
Well, welcome, Minnesotians. I think that's what you call them, right?
So.
Well, let's jump right in. I mean, I love the fact that you are a big guy. I mean, you're 6'4", maybe even
bigger. 300 pounds, slim, a slim 300 pounds. So yeah, I'm a big boy. I'm a big Polynesian boy from the island of Hawaii. So.
Oh, I love that. Let's talk about your heritage a little bit. Talk to me about what it means to be having a Polynesian heritage.
It's the one that I got, right? That's the one that God, when he brought me into this world, he said, you are going to be a Samoan, a Polynesian. So he put me with a beautiful family. I was born in Hawaii, and growing up, I was the youngest of 8 children. So that means I wasn't spoiled. I was getting my butt kicked all the time. But as you know, and if you watch the movie Moana, it's all about family, right? It's all about ohana. It's all about taking care of your own. And when I say that, taking care of our elderly and stuff like that, the love that you see when you see on television or you watch movies on Hawaii, that is what you get. So what you see is what you get. So it was great growing up in Hawaii, with the beaches there. We were always at the beach. I grew up in a very poor family, but I guess growing up in Hawaii, my mom did a fantastic job making sure that we didn't feel that way. And my dad passed away when I was 10 years old. But as far as culture-wise, it is a beautiful, rich, amazing culture that I was raised in. I am Samoan, German, French. German, French from the World War I and II. So in those days, there's a lot of mixture going on. And so that's what I am. I am Samoan, German, French. But I claim my Polynesian. When I walk down the street, everybody knows I'm Polynesian, right? They know that, or they either do that, or I'm a 6'4", 300-pound Mexican. So so that's what they think here in the Midwest. Yeah.
Well, I love that. But while you were in Hawaii growing up with 7 other siblings, when did NFL happen? When did this energy and the strength and even the courage to go for it?
I guess like everyone else, right? You don't know what your life has in store for you. And I tell this to people, and they think I'm a psychic, but I'm not a psychic. I used to have visions when I was a little kid, when I was 5 years old, on the beach, looking at the sunset, and I saw myself in a different land. And people think I'm crazy. I may be crazy, but at that time, I wasn't afraid of it, and I wasn't afraid of it, and I would embrace it. And so, so along with that, and along with my culture, but then also because I was part of the LGBTQ community, because I was gay in such a masculine culture, it was very difficult, right? So you're juggling all those things, right? And so I wasn't even thinking about football. I wasn't thinking about NFL. I didn't think I was going to leave the island. I didn't think it was one of those things where no one left. the island, right? So everybody sort of stayed on the island. Yeah, your parents, they wanted you to stay there. And but anyway, when I escaped, and we can talk about that further later on, I escaped and I went to California, and that's sort of kind of how it all began for me. And then I started playing football, and what happened was I got an opportunity to get a scholarship. I was a blue chip player, meaning I could have gone anywhere in the country. I used to play volleyball growing up, so it was sort of like I sort of fell into this thing, which was amazing, right? And it was a sport that I was good at, and it was one of those things where I just kept it, and I just kept going with it and going with it. But I got to tell you this, because I was gay. It was one of those things where I could hide, and I could unleash all my energy and all the stress and all the depression and all the hurt onto someone, right? Of course, with the protection of the pads, exactly, like, oh, that forearm, oh. And that helped me, to tell you the truth. But also, it was lonely. It was very lonely. So that's when I started playing football. That's when people started recognizing that my skill. And that's when I got offers to go to school anywhere I wanted to, because I was a blue chip player. And I wasn't even thinking about NFL then. I wasn't even so I got recruited. I went to Oregon State, and that's where my journey started. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting for the audience who joined us. Just we put a note on this. While you were playing football, you were closeted. You knew you were already gay, because a lot of people go through time to figure out whether they're gay, they're bi, all different labels under our LGBTQ community, and we have all different spectrums. But however, you already knew who you were.
Oh yeah.
You know that you were gay, but yet, because of the culture background and because the sports atmosphere that you got into, you actually had to be pushed back into the closet more so than you could have possibly come out of the closet at that time.
I was pushed out in the closet. I think it was one of those things where I was in the closet, but I kept pushing further and further into the closet, right? And so, it was very difficult at that time, right? It was very difficult sort of juggling because of the culture that I was in and who I was. But I knew, and when I knew that I was different, right? And there was a time when I was playing with my friends on the playground when we were like in first grade or something like that. And my friends started teasing this other kid, right? And they started calling him names like Mahu or Fagalati or Fa'apafine, which means gay. And they're doing it in such a negative way, and they're spitting on him, and they're throwing rocks at him, and they're teasing him. And I remember asking one of my friends, I was like, why are you guys doing that? Like, why, And he said, oh, because he likes hanging out with the girls, right? He likes playing with dolls. He likes, and I thought to myself, well, I like playing with the girls, and I like dolls, right? And I like dressing up with my sister's clothes and putting on their makeup and getting beat up by my brothers at times, every time they caught me. So I saw what I saw, and I saw myself in that kid that they were beating up. And so that is the day where I put that child within me in the closet. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what it is. You just sort of kind of, that. And then as you grow, as you get older, then it's like your crush is on a boy and not a girl, right? And then you hear the name, and then you understand the meaning of the word. And then you see how hated it is, especially in your culture and especially with around, people around you, right? And queer. So that is the day where I had to be stronger and bigger and faster than anyone. So no one would throw rocks at me. No one would call me names or anything like that. And so I think that's when, but I always knew. And to answer your question, I know that's the roundabout way, but I always knew, right? I knew. And then growing up, in a culture that was, wasn't accepting, and it was very hard. And so I was just kept being pushed down further and further. But you know what? I grew up in the church. I grew up in that Pentecostal Assembly of God, hallelujah, church, So, and I'm so happy that my mom dragged me to church, like with my other brothers and sisters, because I really found out who God's true love was. And that's when I started reading the Bible, and that's when I started reading all his love, none of the negative stuff, but his love. And I found a passage that says, don't put your trust in the flesh, because the flesh will fail you, but put your trust in God, because he'll never fail you, right? And so I don't mean to go to church on you, but that I want you to understand that that really helped me, because years and years of going to church and hearing the negative propaganda about who I was as a person, running home into the banana patch on my knees, crying to God to take this curse away from me, right? So I think that's really important for people to hear, especially in the LGBTQ community, right? That God is a loving God. And so that's what helped me. That is the reason for the season, and that is the reason why I'm here with you.
Well, as time has evolved so much, and I grew up obviously in Taiwan. I'm Asian American. I know how much culture roots on our ability to be who we are, whether it's career path, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's choices that we make. A lot of it has to do with shame and pride, right? They go side by side. Pride, shame? Which one do you take, and when do you find that balance? In the Polynesian community, do you find that over time, and with the exposure of the media now, and we're celebrating LGBTQ just last month, do you see that culture shift starting to begin to happen with acceptance more?
Yeah, exactly. I think, in the Polynesian culture, it's like the American Indian, right? The indigenous Indians, where it's like that double spirited, right? So in my culture, it's okay to be a fa'afine, meaning, you look like a woman, you act like a woman. So it's like sometimes you're being put in positions where high positions in the culture, right? But when it comes to someone masculine like myself, that is where I think there's a problem. And that's where maybe because, people are going to question the cultural masculinity, or think that we're all gay, like, that, the guilty by association thing, or I don't know what it is, but you are right. Times have changed, right? People have come out of the closet. People are speaking up. The thing below your nose and above your chin is a mouth. People are finding their voices to speak, right? They're finding their voices and to come out of the closet. And so the more people come out of the closet and tell their stories, the better it is, because it educates people, right? It educates people, and all our younger generation, as they look upon all us older guys, and seeing that we're coming out, it sort of kind of helps, because I wish when I was younger that I had somebody like that, right? I wish, like, when I was younger, somebody to like mentor me, or someone to talk to me and give us that positive, like, positive vibe with everything in life, right? But it wasn't like that with me, right? I'm 52 years old, a young 52, and it was not like that. It wasn't, right? It was very hurtful, it's very dark, and it was, but I'm so loving today's youth, right? Loving it. Like,
But you have to have the courage within you from you were young, and keep building that courage, because I think it's actually more, it takes more strength and courage and stigma to be able to say at an older age, I'm coming out of the closet. I think at a younger stage, when you decide to come out of the closet, there's a bit of a rubble in you that you can still, like, oh, I don't care what people think. I'm going to finally live my way, right? And other people can get there. Some people finally get acceptance from their family. Some people get acceptance through their peers. But you had to deal with acceptance through your teammates, while super hormonally masculine culture, and you had to do that. And I think that takes so much courage and strength, and which brings to the point, because of the journey that you have gone through. And for you guys out there listening, you guys need to Google his interview with Oprah. I watched it again today. It just draws so much heart and warmth to my heart, that how ahead of the schedule you were. You took that train and you took off. And we're just so blessed to be able to ride that train with you, because the courage that you gave paved so many roads, not just for other sportsmanships out there, but for LGBT community, and for Asian community, for Polynesian community, because we do need to see people of color and reflect on us and see how we can be a better person because somebody else have done it. Because there's so much fear in this.
yeah, thank you. Gosh, it's hard for me to take compliments and stuff, but thank you. But I remember, the thing about it and stuff, when you get older, there's always something that sort of kind of not pressures you, but that speaks to your heart, that you need to come out. For me, it was my children, right? My kids, they were young. I was raising it with my partner at the time, and it was so difficult for us to raise our kids because we had to lie a lot. Everything was a lie, right? Everything. We walked down the street, no one knew that we were a family, right? And so we had to make a decision. And so that's what we did. It took our children to give us the strength to come out, right? Because we wanted them to know that their fathers were proud of who they were, but we didn't want to lie anymore. Man, so the children look like me. So I was their daddy. It was easy. But my partner was a Caucasian from Minnesota. But so it was hard, right? So it was like you would, the uncle, the nanny. I mean, it was just one thing after another, right? It was just crazy. But when we took that step, it was the fear of the known it was very scary. We came out on Real Sports on HBO, and it was one of those things, those journeys where we just didn't know what was going to happen, right? We didn't know. I thought I remember coming out, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, right? I mean, just to say those words, I am gay. Right? It seems nowadays that it's super simple, right? Like people but it was like somebody stabbing me with a knife and turning it because I didn't want to say it, right? But I stayed focused on my family. I stayed focused on my kids. I wanted what all my brothers that I played in the NFL had. I wanted to walk down the street and everybody know that we are a family, right? That's what I wanted, the small little things, right? They take for granted and we won. So it was, but I tell you what, when I came out, it was incredible. And then I got stuck with quoting Shakespeare, to be or not to be, right? To be or not to be. To not to be is to like live that American dream, the white picket fence, the 2 kids, the 2 dogs, minus the wife, and just don't do anything. Or, to be is to become an advocate, to use your voice, this new voice that I found for good, and to sort of kind of help people. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about the LGBTQ community. I seriously, because when you're in a closet, you're in an island. So it was so confusing. I remember my first speech was in Indiana University, 3,000 people, right, in this auditorium. And I remember speaking, and I was like, I stopped, and I said, I apologize to all of them, because I was quoting all these statistics on LGBT, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It's like, what? But I said, I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I know is my life. And so let me share you with my life. So I took off the suit, not the complete suit, but I turned off the projector and I just spoke from the heart. And I tell you, it was absolutely amazing. It was cool. So I'm sorry, I'm taking up all the time, but
No, and I love that, because from there you stem a book that for you boys and girls and guys out there listening, this beautiful book. And it was called, can you give me the title of the book?
Alone in the Trenches. Yes, Alone in the Trenches. Yeah, I wrote that, and and that again was a hard thing, because I was approached to do a book, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm only 35 years old. I have more life to live.
But that's what's incredible, right? It's because you were given these callings. The moment that you woke up and you're awake, then all the beast in you, all 6'4", 300 some odd pounds, and you're given this incredible purpose. And I love the fact that you went through that journey to found love. Religion, it's great for a lot of people that they can find acceptance and love, and we go through that journey individually at the right time, what we need, right? And I'm so proud to be in your community, first of all, and I'm proud to know that you are making so much influences with different organizations you're involved with. But before we jump into all the causes, what I absolutely love the most, that when you found yourself, you also found your voice. And I'm talking about literally your voice. And for you guys out there who join us, Esera's also a contestant on The Voice, and you guys have to listen to him sing. Mr. Aloha has got a voice. It's crazy. You guys, it's insane. I love it. Talk to me a little bit about that part of your journey.
You know what? It was, I've sung before, and I think we've discussed this earlier, right? I've sung before, but when you're living with a crippling secret, I tell you what, it's the most difficult thing to bring the passion out, right? The things that you love, singing, that was what I wanted to do more than anything in the world. I wanted to sing and have people hear my music, right? And so, but when you're living with a crippling secret, it's so difficult to do that, right? Cooking, right? I love to cook. I'm the youngest of 8. That means in a Polynesian family, I was cooking since I was 5 years old, learning how to make sauces. So all my recipes, I'm a chef also, and all my recipes are my mom's, right? So you're finding all this new love that you have, right? That you want to do. And when you get rid of, when you shed that out, when you shed all that stress, that hurt, that pain, that depression all out, then you can focus on, all the things you put on the back burner, you can bring it to the front and you can do it 100% with no regrets and just go for it, right? So yes, I found my voice, and the voice found me because I had a video on YouTube, and then it just went from there. And before you know it, I was in Chicago doing a private audition. Yes, but I think the reason why they gave me a private audition because they didn't want this old man to stand out in the light, right, of the sun. It was like, let's give him a private audition before. So, you know, at 50, seriously, when they called, I'm like, you know, I'm 50, right? Like, they're like, yes, because I'm thinking like the American Idol, right? You got to, I think the oldest they can be is like 25 or something. So, but anyway, it was good. I was in Chicago, and then before you know it, I was in front of the judges getting ready to do the blind auditions, and it was just such a blessing. But I could not have done that if I didn't come out. I could not have followed that dream if I had not come out. If I didn't follow my heart to come out and to pursue everything, right?
But you know what I also love that journey was that you got to do the coming out story, and that is done, and that journey has come to not an end of a chapter, but you resolved that. So when you were on The Voice, it was truly celebrating your voice. It was not another story. And I think that is so important to mention because you got to live your life and celebrate who you are. And LGBTQ was not the reason you have a beautiful voice. You have a beautiful voice because you are the person that you are.
People, when they look at you, they knew who you are, right? People, when they used to look at me when I played in the NFL, they didn't know who I was, right? They didn't know all the anxiety that I had when I used to sack the quarterback or make a tackle, hearing my name echo through the stadium and having this anxiety attacks and blacking out and all of that, right? But standing in front of those judges getting ready to sing, it was just like they saw me, right?
And I love that. And not only that, did they see you? It's a full circle because you begin to cook for them. You became the executive chef for The Voice. What a completion of an incredible 360. And what a circle of life could not be better.
Yeah. So it was funny because I was on Team Blake, right? I was on Team Blake, and so my team members, all of them would come and like eat in my room, and I would cook for all of them, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it was like I'm cooking things on the hot plate. So I should do like a hot plate like recipe book because we were cooking steak, Polynesian food. The only thing we didn't cook was a pig. That's all, like a whole pig in there. But it was incredible, and the camaraderie that I had and cooking for them, and it was just great. I've always cooked. I've been catering for the last 20 years, all mom's recipes. And then after that, I had the opportunity to become the executive chef for the Pilgrim House at the Landings, at the Pilgrim House in Massachusetts, in P-Town, Provincetown, Massachusetts, where I also do my show every summer. But this summer it's been canceled because of the things that are happening. So right now, but that's my journey. Yeah. And so it's so cool that I've been able to sort of just take that and run with it, right? It's cool.
What is it like to be able to be standing in front of the judges to sing for them? I know it's a crazy audition. I only ever sat the judging seat for everything I've done. So I've never been on the side being judged. So I don't know that anxiety and feeling. I know that us judges like to put anxiety in you guys, what makes good TV. However, when the flip side of it is that you get to cook for them, and then you get to present your very best. Beyond your voice, it's your food, it's a whole, because food is about the whole entire body of spirit, right? It's everything you put into it, the energy of it. What was it like to be able to turn the table and then see them in a different way?
Right. It's incredible, right? Like you said, like food and music are the same things, right? It caters to the heart, right? It caters to the soul, right? The best thing when I sing a song and I see people's faces and just their tears and I know that they're feeling the song that I'm singing, right? Or when you cook something for someone, right? And they just like, you can taste it, right? Every single time something came out of our kitchen at the Landings and you would see the faces on people eating it and you knew and stuff that you touched their soul, right? And they would come back for more and more and more. You're right. Right, and you are definitely right with all of that. It is such an amazing amazing feeling, and it's power, and it's strength, and it's love, and it's all of that, my brother. And it's, but it's so funny. We've been talking about myself, right? And I've been trying to tell people about you and all the things that you have done, and all the journeys you have taken, all the people that you have photographed, all the things that people you have spoken to. To me, the reason why I was so excited to do this is because you have taken your platform as well as mine, like, and you have used it to make this world a better place. And that is an amazing feeling. And out of all the interviewers that have interviewed me, like with Oprah and Ellen and all these people, I tell you what, this is amazing because you have lived it as well. Your journey is amazing. And I want people to go to your website. And I've been pushing people to your website just to learn more about you, right? And this is incredible, man. I thank you so much for having me on your show. This is, from the bottom of my heart, is incredible. Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you how I found you for people who are listening and watching. During this time, 3 months ago, when I began Let's Talk, is really trying to find my inner voice as you have found yours. I was challenged by my sister not celebrating my LGBT community enough publicly. I've never been in the closet and never thought I need to have that moment. But the fact that she reminded me I have a voice and people are watching, and I have opportunity to actually help and celebrate people who could be in the same predicament at one point or the other of life that's shared a similar path, which perhaps because I'm in the fashion industry, we're so insular in a way that we don't think about the outside bubble because everybody's fabulous. Everybody's gay. Nobody ever asks, are you gay? We just assume you all are, right? So it's very different. So she challenged me to really own that. And on top of it, she says, and by the way, remember that you're Asian American and how important it is during this time to celebrate that. Again, I did not take the time to think of those things because a good Asian person, we put our blindfolds on and we work. And we're like an ostrich. If something goes wrong, we dig a hole, we put our head in it, and we pretend it's not there, and then we come back up when the dust settles. So I did that for a long time, and I went to Asia to do my cooking show. I went to, to do my judging shows for top model shows in Asia. I never thought about celebrating that in the US. So it's all about, I'm proud of being Asian. I went back to Asia to work because most Asian people who become popular in America do not go back where they're from. It's just culturally, they're like, we made it. Why do we need to go back to where we're from? So I was very proud of that, but I've forgotten how important it was to bring that back to the States. And with the things that are going on in the world that we are right now, where color is so important to celebrate. And it was because of her. And Lisa Ling came on one day, and I asked her, wow, I can't believe you said yes when I invited you. And she said to me, because you have a voice, and from this point forward, I'm giving you that power and strength to continue to celebrate Asian Americans. And not just for Asian American Heritage Month, but make that part of your messaging. And that's what I found you. I found you on a talk on Act to Change. And when I saw the panelists and the people and the group of Asian Americans that I celebrate who we are, whether it's about anti-bully, whether it's LGBTQ, there was diverse of people that I can look at and say, oh, I belong to this community. And now I'm responsible to have a voice within this community. And that's when we became friends. So we started talking, and I wanted you to come on the show because you resonate so much. And as a motivation speaker, I've been watching you that every morning when you get up, say, aloha, everyone, and you see me going and wave at you because it just brings an amazing smile. And I love the day you bring a ukulele, you start singing, I put in the background, I'm like, this is free music. I love it.
No, it's awesome. And you touched on an important part, right? So, growing up and staying here, living here in Minnesota, sometimes you can get out of touch with your culture, get out of touch with things, right? And then you sort of kind of forget, right? So you're this advocate, you're this voice, but you're speaking, but then yet you forget like where you truly came from, right? Sometimes it's not it's nothing faulting us or anything like that, right? Because when people look at us, they see a Polynesian, right? They look at you, they see an Asian. So it's one of those things where it's hard. But I'm starting to work more with my culture. With Kava Talk, we do these talks, Kava Talk with these Polynesian men from around the world, talking about issues and stuff, not just with the LGBTQ community, but everything. And it feels so empowering. It feels so amazing, right? It does. It really does. And I'm so happy and stuff that, I get the opportunity to do that, to reach people and to talk to people and to inspire them, to give them strength as much as they give me strength, right? And so yeah, but thank you so much for everything that you do and all the people you interviewed. Holy Toledo, man, that's great. Wow.
Well, you're great. And then not only that, that you have embodied this amazing spirit of celebration, of joy and feeding people. You started Hate is Wrong. I want to talk about this foundation you started and the messaging behind it.
So it was one of my so I had a saying, this shirt that I'm wearing right here, right? Hate in any form is wrong. So when I obviously, because I was in the closet, I didn't have any, I couldn't sort of, it was my way of fighting within the darkness, right? So I came up with this saying, hate in any form is wrong. So anytime sexism, racism, or homophobia, people would shout out things and stuff, I would say, dude, hate in any form is wrong, right? So I've said that for the longest time. And then I started this Hate is Wrong, which is an organization to sort of foster diversity within professional sports or sports alone and the LGBT community, to sort of bridge that gap, right? Because it's been a bridge that has not been connected before. So I did that. And also what we do is we raise money for anti-bullying programs. The reason why, because I was bullied when I was a little kid in a different form of way, right? And so for me, I wanted to focus on, reach so many stories out there of kids taking their lives because they're bullied and taking their lives, something that could be prevented, right? And by easily just having people go and speak and encourage them and try to educate them and all of that, right? So that's why we started Hate is Wrong, and to do that. And so if people want to learn more about our organization, we support a lot of great organizations around the country. We do an inclusion panel where we bring experts from around the world, around the country, to speak on issues that are out there and see if we can find out with a solution. We follow the Super Bowl and we do an inclusion party, which I just wanted to have a presence at the Super Bowl. I wanted the LGBTQ community to have a presence at the Super Bowl. I've been to the Super Bowl 15 times. And I have never seen us represented. Meaning, I've played in it once, but then I've gone. And never have I ever seen us represented. So I wanted us to have a representation. So I created the Inclusion Party, and we follow the Super Bowl, and 100% of the proceeds from the party stays in the city where the Super Bowl is hosted for anti-bullying programs. And that's what we do. And I love it, right? And it's a small thing that we can do. I have the opportunity I can do, and I love it, right? So I invite everyone to jump on our website, to get on our mailing list, to donate if they want to, and then also to buy a T-shirt to support and to wear it with pride. So if you wear it, say it, mean it, and do it, right? So, but that's it. And it's just something that I'm very proud of, my way of giving back to the community and just helping people, right? And just spreading the aloha. So.
Well, it's such a simple concept when you say hate is wrong. It's interesting. When I saw this platform that you have created, first thing I thought of is actually remind myself, hate is wrong to yourself. It begins with you. For those kids out there, for people going through struggles, whatnot, forgive yourself. Give yourself a break, because it starts from there. Because truly, we know that people who bully other people are hurting them most themselves, right? We both grew up in a very different. We talked about this in a different struggles, and we have our own cultural struggles, as well as being an immigrant in this country and finding that substance. All of that has to do how you view yourself and how you love yourself. You got to start there. So if you can understand hate is wrong for yourself, I truly believe that is a messaging that will then be able to turn to others and let other people be aware of what that truly means. Sometimes it is something so simple that we just need to take a little time.
It is simple. And I tell people, in order for you to live your best life, you got to get rid of all that hate. You got to get rid of all that negative energy, right? And it's as simple as just telling yourself, get out of here, or giving it to God, right? And have him just take it over, because he can handle it, right? And so it's like that. And when I go and speak to a lot of these kids across the country, they have lost their voices because of the social media, the fear of one click and reaching 100 to 1,000 people, right? They've lost their voices, and they're scared. But what I try to do is I try to have them find their voices. The thing below their nose and above their chin is a voice. Use it. You see something that's wrong, say it, yell it, scream it. It is one of those things where our younger generation has lost. They have lost their voices, but they're starting to come around. They're starting to stick up for their friends, stick up for people, right? Doing the right thing. And the more we push out like speakers, the more we push out positive energy, the more we push out love into the universe, right? That's where it's going to start healing. People are going to start changing. And so, man, this is incredible. Like just people listening to this, is very helpful. It's going to be amazing. So thank you so much.
No, and then I think for all of us who have any sort of platform, and for those of you guys who are watching out there, it doesn't matter you have 10 followers, you have millions of followers. It's what you do with the with we call them followers, but they're really your fans, the people that I hate the word followers, right? We're following people. It's truly not follower. These people inspire you, therefore you follow their Instagram and you follow their journey, and your fans and people that heard that I'm coming on here to talk to you. I got so many DMs and people celebrating you, and that puts a smile on my face. And for me, one of the most rewarding things is that I do a little research on everyone before I come on the show and have a pre-talk, and I got to watch all these old footage of yours and seeing these other teammates have what they have said. And then fast forward to what they've said recently and how they become part of your family, because they at the time like, I don't agree with you. And then 5 years ago, they're like, I want to show up at your whatever party you got. I'm going to support you. That's the change. Those are the type of change. It may not happen overnight. These talks that we're having every day, it is so important. Whether it's about inclusion, whether it's about LGBTQ, it's just about humanity. Truly, it's that simple.
Right. But I like to encourage a lot of the younger generation and people, live your life. Your life. Seriously, the best way you can get back at someone is to live your life and be happy, to show them that joy, right? When I came out, I lost so many friends, so many family members, right? People are coming back, and 10 years from now, 15 now, and they're like, oh, we're sorry, I didn't deal it with it, the heart, but they see you. Yes. They see you live your life. They see how happy you are. They see you're in a relationship. They see you loving people, right? They see all of that, right? Come back and they apologize, right? But for me, it's like no skin off my back. You're the one who lost 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of our friendship, right? So live your life, when something don't go your way, when you get knocked down, like we've all been knocked down so many times, get back up, dust yourself off and live your life. Right, live your life. You can definitely do that. Live your best life.
And you're doing that now. So I want to know is what is the next thing that you're going to do to continue with this best life that you're living?
Well, after this, I'm going to jump in the kitchen. So then I'm cooking for mom. But with everything going on, things have been pushed back and have been. So I just try to I'm working on a movie script from the book. So I'm working with a great, a young writer, and we're collaborating, and it's so amazing, John Saylor. But also we're working on a project with Bob Kerr, who is used to work on the Roseanne Barr show, the Connors now or whatever. We're working on a project for television, and hopefully that comes through. But just things like that, taking this time to sort of reflect, taking this time to reach out to family, to reach out to friends, to reconnecting to people, right? Because we all have all the time in the world. So,
but I think this is also the time you get to realize what your value is. Because I know before this crazy time, other people judge your value, whether how many likes you have on Instagram, how many calls you get from your agent, or how many jobs you put on the book, and how many jobs you book. But we never take the time to evaluate who we are, what we do, and what our purposes are. And the silver lining of all this is meeting people like you and be able to align myself with a project like yours and then say, you know what, there's a greater purpose. And I do believe, and I truly believe in my heart, when this is over and a different new normal, that we're all going to come out with a bit of difference that make better differences. I think so. I like to be the optimistic person, to think that we are going to be better than we entered.
Right. No, you're definitely right. And the whole follower thing, and it's funny because I have about 9,000 followers and stuff like that, right? But it's funny because people are like, why don't you have a lot, or why they get on you? Because it's like, I don't know. tell people, but it's one of those things where I don't care, because when I walk down the street, people know that I'm Esera Tuaolo, right?
Right.
And so I don't need that confirmation. I don't need that, right? I'm happy. And I tell all these young kids, because a lot of them, it's like, I can't, there's no fight. Like my daughter, like when she was younger, I'm sorry, I don't have likes. I'm like, okay. Like, you know, you don't live your life by that, man. Live your best life and just go forward. You know, I'm happy with the people, the eclectic people that I have, the art, you know, the artistry of people that follow me. I love that. I definitely love that, you know, but it's amazing, man. And it's how the world is turning. You're definitely right. When all of this is done, right, we're gonna find out things about ourselves that we never thought or never figured out in our lifetime, but because of the time that we have, you know. So
I'm absolutely incredibly blessed because of this time I have, because we do bear ourselves into work, and the connections of people I get to meet here. And just so you guys know, it doesn't ever stop here. We have become friends, and we talk way before the talk, and then afterwards we continue in our relationship, and especially in the community of chefs. And I have learned so much from you guys, how you all know each other, by the way, number one. And how you guys celebrate each other. And that's the most important thing, how you celebrate each other and you show up for each other to help others when crises happen every single time. It doesn't matter of your own situation. That to me is the biggest learning I have through this talk. You know, I can sit here and talk to all my celebrity friends or stylists and whatnot. It's incredible. Also, you get to learn truly who they are and what they're passionate about. And when I hear that a photographer I admire, that's doing a book and just celebrating everyday people doing extraordinary things at the first, the first responders, just photographing them by 1,000 miles away, that to me, respect them even more. And that's what I'm finding. I'm finding love and I'm finding respect, and I'm cherishing this moment and our time together. And thank you so much for all your IG live in the morning when you get up and you let me know, Aloha.
No, thank you so much. And you're right about chefs. You're right about all of that. It's all people we just love each other, right? And it's about helping people when it comes down to it, right? And the music that I sing, everything that I do is completely from the heart, right? It comes from the heart. Everything comes from the heart. If it doesn't come from love, then it doesn't come out at all, right? So I tell people they can put me on their playlist, right? You can put me on your workout playlist, or you can put me on your lovemaking playlist, or you can just put me on your playlist, right? On iTunes, self-entitled Esera. Yeah, that's a shameful plug. Buy my book, Alone in the Trenches. So before we log off, I love you, man. Thank you so much for having me. This is incredible. So, yeah.
And don't forget, guys, hate is wrong, such an important cause. And make sure you go online, log in, Google it. You guys know how to do it. Find the page of Instagram, tag it, do some TikTok dance to his music, and celebrate each other. It's truly, thank you for being here, because today I felt like it's such an amazing celebration to be able to share time with you. And I'll have so much to learn from you. I can't wait to taste your food. I can't wait to.
Yes, I cannot wait to cook for you. Yeah, I cannot wait. Yeah, I'll do some old mom's old recipes, those Polynesian, people are like, oh, can you cook Polynesian? I said, you want real, authentic, or you want Americanized?
No, I want that pig berry in the ground for 12 hours. I want that, because I had it before and I've never had anything like it again. I shot in Hawaii for Sports Illustrated. But before we go, we need to give a little shout out to your niece.
Ah, yes, Veronica Pame, the first plus size model at Sports Illustrated. Yes, incredible.
Polynesian heritage. Thank you so much.
And you.
So guys, this is how crazy it is. This is how small the world is, right? We met online. We met through DM, and we started talking, and you saw my Sports Illustrated shoot. You're like, do you know my niece is in it? I go, do I know? I shot her.
Amazing, right? Amazing. And it's funny because she doesn't even think that she's done something. It was, but she's the first plus size model, a Polynesian, that's a plus size model, right? It's incredible. Never heard of, right? And you were part of it. She's part of it. And
we laughed. We cried on that beach. I celebrate every moment with her. I absolutely enjoyed that day. And you know what? Again, your world does not stop. They connect. They go from singing to cooking for the judges. They go from, football team that you're knocking people over. Now you're bringing them up with LGBT advocacy. And then now, we're connected by swimsuit. What better is that?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you so much for today's spirit. Thank you for all your energy, and thank you for your cause that hate is wrong. And guys, please love yourself first. Begin with that. And hate is wrong. And I want to thank you so much again being with me today.
Thank you for having me. Aloha.
Aloha. Well, thank you guys for joining me again today on this edition of Let's Talk. Esera was amazing. As I told you guys, he was going to be fun. He was amazing. His history, we can have 3 hours talking just about his history and the crazy spirit and the strength that he had coming out of the closet, and interviewed by just about anyone and everyone. And for him to be here with me is such an incredible honor. And I celebrate with him the Polynesian heritage. I celebrate with him the Asian American heritage. I celebrate him with all different advocacy that he's putting out there. And I love you, brother. I do. Thank you so much for being with me today. And guys, thank you everyone for joining in.